In Judge Lauren Lake's 15 years on the bench, she had seen everything. Custody battles that tore families apart. Neglect cases that broke your heart. Foster care disputes that had no easy answers. But nothing could have prepared her for what walked in her courtroom on a cold Tuesday morning in November. The case file seemed simple enough. Foster care review for Lily Martinez, age 4. Temporary placement with foster mother Amanda Chun. Birth mother Maria Martinez. Seeking return of custody after 18 months in rehabilitation. Standard procedure. Standard paperwork. But when that little girl walked into the courtroom, holding Amanda's hand with a grip so tight her knuckles were white, Judge Lake felt something shift in her chest. Because Lily hadn't spoken a single word in 2 years. The courtroom fell into its usual rhythm that morning. Maria Martinez sat on one side, her hands folded in her lap, 18 months of sobriety written in the nervous energy of her fingers. Amanda Chun sat on the other side, one protective arm around Lily's small shoulders. Judge Lauren Lake reviewed the case file one more time. The facts were painfully clear. Maria had struggled with addiction since Lily was born. There had been 3 emergency room visits, 2 failed attempts at rehab. Until 18 months ago, when Child Protective Services finally removed Lily and placed her with Amanda, a licensed foster parent who specialized in trauma cases. Lauren looked at Maria across the courtroom. She had seen this before. The cleaned-up appearance, the certificate from rehab clutched in trembling hands, the desperate hope in eyes that had seen too much darkness. "Good morning, everyone," Lauren began, her voice gentle but firm. "Good morning, Your Honor," the courtroom responded in unison. "Ms. Martinez," Lauren continued, "I've reviewed your rehabilitation records. 18 months sober. That's commendable. You've completed your program, attended all required meetings, maintained stable employment. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor." Maria's voice cracked with emotion. "I've changed. I'm not the person I was. I want my daughter back. I want to be her mother again." Lauren's eyes moved to Lily. The little girl sat perfectly still, staring at her hands. Her dark hair was neatly braided. She wore a yellow dress with flowers on it. To anyone else, she might have looked like any other 4-year-old waiting for grown-ups to finish talking. But Lauren noticed what others might miss. The way Lily's breathing quickened when Maria spoke. The way her small body tensed. The way she pressed closer to Amanda, as if trying to disappear into the woman's side, trying to become invisible. What Lauren didn't know yet, what no one in that courtroom knew, was that Lily was listening to every word, processing every moment, feeling everything. She just couldn't or wouldn't speak. "Ms. Chun," Lauren said, turning to Amanda, "can you tell me about Lily's time in your care?" Amanda took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "Your Honor, when Lily first came to me, she was broken. She flinched at sudden movements. She wouldn't make eye contact. She had nightmares every single night. And she hasn't spoken since before she was removed from her mother's care." "Has she received therapy?" Lauren asked. "3 times a week for 18 months, Your Honor." Dr. Sarah Williams, a child psychologist specializing in selective mutism and trauma. "The progress has been slow, but it's there." Amanda's voice grew softer, more emotional. "Lily communicates through drawings now, through gestures." She started to smile again. Just last week, she laughed. It was the first time I'd ever heard her laugh. Amanda's voice caught on that last sentence. But she still won't speak. For the next hour, Lauren heard testimony that painted 2 very different pictures. Maria's rehab counselor spoke about her transformation, her dedication, her genuine remorse. Her new employer testified about her reliability, her hard work. Even her sponsor from Narcotics Anonymous spoke about the strength it took to get clean and stay clean. The evidence was compelling. By every measurable standard, Maria Martinez had turned her life around. She had done everything the system asked of her. She had checked every box, followed every rule. Then Dr. Williams took the stand. "Doctor," Lauren asked, "can you explain Lily's condition?" Dr. Williams adjusted her glasses, her voice professional but gentle. "Lily suffers from selective mutism, Your Honor. It's an anxiety disorder where a child who is capable of speech becomes unable to speak in certain situations or to certain people. In Lily's case, it developed as a response to severe trauma. She paused, making sure everyone understood. When she was with her mother during the active addiction period, she witnessed things no child should see, heard things no child should hear. She learned that speaking could be dangerous, that silence was safety, that being invisible meant being safe. Can she recover? Lauren asked the question everyone was thinking. Will she speak again? Potentially yes, but it requires absolute stability, consistency, safety. Any disruption to her current environment could be devastating. We're at a critical point in her therapy. She's beginning to trust again, beginning to feel safe. If that safety is removed, Dr. Williams paused, meeting Lauren's eyes directly. She could retreat even further into herself. Some children never recover from that kind of setback. Lauren felt the weight of those words settle on her shoulders like a physical burden. This wasn't about paperwork or protocol. This wasn't about following the letter of the law. This was about a little girl's soul. Maria's attorney stood up, his voice measured but insistent. Your Honor, with all due respect to Dr. Williams, my client has fulfilled every requirement of the reunification plan. She has completed her treatment. She has maintained sobriety. She has stable housing and employment. Under the law, she has the right to reunify with her daughter. The system is designed to keep families together, not tear them apart. He was right. Legally, he was absolutely right. But something in Lauren's gut was screaming that the law wasn't enough. That sometimes what's legal and what's right aren't the same thing. Lauren called for a recess. She needed to think. Alone. In her chambers, she stared at the case file, but the words blurred together. All she could see was Lily's small, silent face. Those huge, dark eyes that had seen too much. That little hand gripping Amanda's so tightly. The law said Maria had earned the right to get her daughter back. The law said she had paid her debt. The law said families should be reunified. But Lily's terrified silence said something else entirely. Lauren thought about her own childhood, her own mother, the stability that had allowed her to thrive, to become who she was today. What if she had been uprooted at 4 years old? What if the one person who made her feel safe had suddenly disappeared from her life? But she also thought about Maria, about second chances, about the power of redemption, about a mother's love and a mother's pain, about how addiction is a disease, not a moral failing. This wasn't a case with a villain. This was a case where everyone was trying to do the right thing, and someone was going to get hurt no matter what she decided. When court reconvened, Lauren had made her decision. But first, she needed to do something unconventional, something that might get her reversed on appeal, but she didn't care. I'd like to speak with Lily. If that's possible, Lauren said. The courtroom stirred. This was unusual, highly unusual. Your Honor, Maria's attorney began. The child doesn't speak. I'm aware, Lauren said firmly. But I believe she can communicate in other ways. Dr. Williams, would you bring Lily to the bench? What happened next would stay with Lauren for the rest of her career, for the rest of her life. Dr. Williams gently guided Lily to stand in front of the bench. The little girl looked up at Lauren with huge, dark eyes. In her hand, she clutched a small stuffed rabbit, worn from constant holding, from being the one constant thing in her chaotic world. Lauren did something judges rarely do. She came out from behind her bench and knelt down to Lily's level, bringing herself eye to eye with this tiny human being whose fate was in her hands. The courtroom fell absolutely silent. You could hear people breathing. Hi, Lily, Lauren said softly. My name is Judge Lake. I know you don't talk, and that's okay. You don't have to talk if you don't want to. But I need you to help me understand something. Can you do that? Lily didn't move, but her eyes stayed on Lauren's face. Watching, listening, waiting. Dr. Williams handed Lauren a piece of paper and some crayons. Lily, Lauren continued, her voice barely above a whisper. Can you draw me something? Can you draw where you feel safe? For a long moment, nothing happened. The courtroom held its collective breath. Then, slowly, Lily took the crayons. She knelt on the floor and began to draw. Every eye in that courtroom was on her small hands moving across the paper. The drawing took shape, line by line, color by color. A house, yellow with a red door. Flowers in the garden. Two stick figures in the window, one tall, one small. Both were smiling. And in the corner, in careful, shaky letters that a 4-year-old had painstakingly formed, Lily had written one word: home. Lauren looked at Amanda. Amanda's eyes were filled with tears streaming down her face. Then Lauren did something else. She took another piece of paper. Lily, can you draw me one more thing? Can you draw yourself? Lily picked up the crayons again. This time, she drew a little girl with dark hair in a yellow dress. But the little girl's mouth was a straight line. No smile, no frown, just a line. And then, in the most devastating moment Lauren had ever witnessed in her courtroom, Lily drew something that made the judge's breath catch in her throat. A tiny padlock over the mouth. A little girl who had locked her voice away to survive. A child who had learned that silence was the only way to be safe in this world. Lauren stood up slowly, her knees feeling weak. She helped Lily back to Amanda's side, watching as the little girl buried her face in Amanda's shoulder, holding on like her life depended on it. Then Lauren returned to her bench. She sat down and looked at Maria, really looked at her. And for a moment, she saw the pain there. The genuine, heartbreaking pain of a mother who had lost her child to her own demons and was desperate to make it right. But she also looked at Lily, at the trembling shoulders, at the locked voice, at the 2 years of silence that spoke louder than any testimony. Lauren took a deep breath. This was it, the moment that would change 3 lives forever. MS. Martinez, she began, her voice heavy with the weight of what she was about to say. I want to acknowledge the incredible work you've done. 18 months of sobriety is not easy. Recovery is not easy. The commitment you've shown to turning your life around is commendable. By every standard of the law, you have fulfilled your obligations. Maria leaned forward, hope flickering in her eyes like a candle in the darkness. But Lauren continued, and her voice grew firmer, more resolute. My obligation is not to the law alone. My obligation is to the best interest of a child. And right now, based on what I've seen and heard today, Lily's best interest is not immediate reunification. Your Honor, Maria's attorney stood up quickly. Let me finish, Lauren said, her tone leaving no room for argument. Lily has been through severe trauma. She has not spoken in 2 years. She is at a critical point in her healing process. Dr. Williams has testified that any sudden disruption could cause irreparable harm. I cannot, in good conscience, make a decision that could destroy the progress this child has made. I cannot risk breaking what is only beginning to heal. She paused, looking directly at Maria, making sure the mother heard every word. However, I also believe in redemption. I believe in second chances. I believe that mothers and daughters should not be separated unless absolutely necessary. I believe that addiction is a disease and that people can change. The courtroom was so quiet, you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Therefore, my ruling is as follows. Custody will remain with MS. Chun for another 12 months. During that time, MS. Martinez, you will have supervised visitation with Lily. Once a week initially, with the frequency increasing based on Lily's response and Dr. Williams' recommendations. Maria started to cry, but Lauren kept going. But here's what's different. Here's what's going to make this work. You will not visit as a stranger trying to reclaim your daughter. You will visit as a mother learning how to be a mother. You will attend therapy sessions with Lily. You will learn her triggers, her fears, her progress. You will earn her trust back, slowly, at her pace, not yours. Lauren's voice softened slightly. MS. Martinez, if you love your daughter, truly love her, you will understand that this is not about punishing you. This is about protecting her. This is about putting her needs above your wants. And if, in 12 months, Lily has shown that she can trust you again, that she feels safe with you, that she can begin to heal in your presence, then we will revisit reunification. Maria was crying now, tears streaming down her face, but she nodded. Do you understand? Lauren asked gently. Yes, Your Honor, Maria whispered. And then something unexpected happened, something that made everyone in that courtroom freeze. Lily, still in Amanda's arms, turned her head to look at her mother. For the first time since the hearing began, she made direct eye contact with Maria. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't love. Not yet. But it was acknowledgement. It was recognition. It was the tiniest crack in the wall she had built around herself. It was hope. Exactly 1 year later, Judge Lauren Lake sat in her chambers, reviewing the follow-up report on Lily Martinez. The file was thick with documentation, therapy notes, visit reports. The visits with Maria had gone slowly at first. Lily had remained silent, watchful, wary. But Maria had been patient. She had followed every recommendation. She had shown up. She had sat through therapy sessions where she heard, in painful detail, the trauma she had caused. She had cried. She had apologized. And most importantly, she had shown up every single week, no matter what, rain or shine, good days and bad days. After 6 months, Lily had started drawing pictures for her mother. Small things, flowers, suns, stick figures holding hands. After 8 months, she had let Maria hold her hand during visits without pulling away. After 10 months, she had fallen asleep in her mother's lap, finally feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. And then, last week, something miraculous had happened. Lauren read Dr. Williams' report, and tears filled her eyes. During their therapy session, with both Amanda and Maria present, Lily had reached for a toy. And when Amanda handed it to her, Lily had looked up at Amanda with those big dark eyes and whispered 2 words, "Thank you." 2 words. After 2 years of silence. 2 words that meant the lock on her voice was finally beginning to open. 2 words that changed everything. The follow-up hearing was scheduled for today. Lauren called the court to order, her heart beating faster than usual. When Lily walked in, she was still holding Amanda's hand. But this time, she was also holding Maria's hand. One woman on each side. 2 mothers in different ways. Both holding on to this little girl who had survived so much. Lauren looked at the 3 of them standing there together, and she knew immediately what her decision would be. MS. Martinez, MS. Chun, she began, this case has been extraordinary. What I'm about to propose is unconventional. It might even be unprecedented in this jurisdiction. But I believe it's in Lily's best interest. Both women looked at her, waiting, barely breathing. I'm granting shared custody. MS. Martinez, you have proven yourself capable of being the mother Lily needs. You have shown dedication, patience, and genuine change. MS. Chun, you've been the anchor this child needed to survive and heal. Rather than forcing Lily to choose, rather than removing either of you from her life, I'm ordering a co-parenting arrangement. She looked at Amanda, knowing this would be hard. MS. Chun, I know this isn't what you expected. Foster care typically ends when biological parents reunify. But this child has 2 mothers now, and she needs both of you. She needs the safety you provide and the biological connection to her birth mother. She needs both. Amanda was crying, but she was nodding, understanding. And then, in a moment that would become legendary in family court circles, in a moment that bailiffs would talk about for years, Lily did something no one expected. She let go of both women's hands. She walked up to Judge Lake's bench on her own, and she looked up at the judge with those huge, dark eyes. And in a small, quiet voice that hadn't been heard in that courtroom, or anywhere, in 2 years, she spoke, "Thank you, Judge Lady." The courtroom erupted. Maria sobbed. Amanda sobbed. The attorneys wiped their eyes. Even the bailiff, a tough former Marine, had to turn away to compose himself. Lauren knelt down once more, bringing herself to Lily's level, tears streaming down her own face. "You're very welcome, Lily. Your voice is beautiful. Don't ever lock it away again." Lily smiled. A real, genuine smile that lit up her entire face. And then she said something else, something that made Lauren's heart nearly burst. "I have 2 mommies now." "Yes, you do," Lauren said, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes, you do. And they both love you so much." That night, Lauren Lake went home and did something she rarely did. She called her own mother, just to say, "I love you," just to hear her voice, just to remember what it felt like to be someone's daughter. Because sometimes the most important cases aren't about the law at all. They're about listening to what can't be spoken. They're about healing what's been broken. They're about understanding that love isn't always simple and family isn't always blood. And sometimes the bravest thing a judge can do is throw out the rule book and listen to her heart. Because justice without compassion is just another form of cruelty. 3 months after that hearing, Lauren received a package in the mail. Inside was a drawing from Lily. Three stick figures, all holding hands, all smiling. Two tall ones and one small one in the middle. And underneath, in careful letters that were getting better every day, my family. Lauren framed it and hung it at her chambers, right where she could see it every day. A reminder that sometimes the best verdict isn't the one written in law books. It's the one written in a child's drawing. For every child who lost their voice and found it again.